Hello and welcome to Seton Hall PTV's coverage of Seton Hall athletics. Joined alongside Ryan Johnston, I am Jimmy Bliss, and we were on hand at Madison Square Garden to see the Seton Hall Pirates fall to the UConn Huskies by a score of 62-52 in the Big East quarterfinals. And Ryan, the first half of this game, it was all up and down for Seton Hall, but mostly down. They were down by 11 points, 9 points consistently in that first half, and they officially were down by 11 points when it hit halftime. What was going wrong for the Pirates starting early on in this game?
Well, just like we talked about in our halftime report, Jimmy, just about everything went wrong. I think I listed out at halftime the Pirates had a lower field goal percentage, a lower three-point percentage, a lower free throw percentage, more turnovers committed, more fouls committed, and they were getting out-rebounded at that time. It was just a whole slew of things going wrong for the Pirates at that point. It was hard to pinpoint just one. I was happy with their effort, at least defensively, especially later in the first half. They started out in a 2-3 and then switched back to man. I don't know why exactly they started out in a 2-3 because they're so much more comfortable in that man defense, and they showed it later on in that first half. They held UConn to just 2 of 12, I think, over a 5-minute stretch later in the second half. But again, just so much went wrong for them in that first half. Second part of the first half, they started to turn it up a little bit defensively, but other than that, not a whole lot of positives.
Yeah, that 2-3 zone definitely put a damper into that Seton Hall defensive strategy. They weren't able to do anything defensively, and UConn was raining down threes and mid-range jumpers just like, they wanted to. Anyway, going into halftime, Seton Hall did have an 11-point deficit, but after halftime, they did come out a little bit stronger. They had that little run. They outscored UConn, I believe it was 6-2 straight out of the gate, had a little bit of momentum coming, but then it all came crashing down, Ryan. What went wrong for the Pirates just about 5 minutes into that second half when everything started to fall down?
Well, the guy that was hitting all the shots today for Seton Hall was Miles Kale. He had 17 points. At one point, he had 17 of the Pirates' 31 for their entire game. And then UConn started to recognize that, notice how hot that he was for the entire game, and just sort of focus their defensive strategy more on him instead of guys like Jared Rhoden, who had a very cold night shooting the ball. It was definitely not Jared Rhoden's night from the field. So that defensive switch, focusing more on Miles Kale, getting him out of his rhythm, really cost the Pirates in the long run.
Yeah, well, you talked about Jared Rhoden. Jared Rhoden only had 7 points today. In the post-game presser, Kevin Willard had a little bit of words of encouragement for Jared Rhoden, so this is what he said.
Coach Willard, Jared Rhoden had one of his worst offensive games tonight. Obviously, it was a struggle. What did you kind of have to say to him, knowing how he's going to kind of take this on the chin and move going forward?
Jared left everything on the floor.
Yeah.
Played his heart out. He was give Terry Smart a little credit for playing really good defense. That's the way I look at it. Jared will be fine. He's a big boy. In this team, I love where this team is at. I love where they're at. Even when we got down 14 late in the second half, just again, the young man to the right of me, the leadership that he's developed and the man he's turned into, it's been fun to watch. So, it's disappointing. But UConn's good, man. UConn's good.
So Seton Hall coming out of this game, there were questions about their starting point guard, Kadari Richmond. He had a hand injury coming into this one, didn't play much of the second half in the last game against Georgetown, but he was able to come and have some good numbers today despite the thumb injury and played 30-plus minutes for this Pirates team. And Ryan, what do you think about his performance today? Scoring double digits, having a good overall impact on the game, assisting, rebounding. What do you think?
I think Kadari was a huge plus for the Pirates today. I mean, you're talking about a sophomore point guard who's coming out with basically one hand. He's doing this basically on one hand, scoring 14 points, shooting almost 50% from the field in a Big East quarterfinal matchup against a top 20 team in the nation. I mean, that is just huge right there from a guy like Kadari Richmond. He's just so smooth. He's so controlled. We've seen it all season. He had a couple of bad turnovers the past couple of games. He did. Right. But that's to be expected when you're dealing with a hand injury like his. The fact that he was the second leading scorer on this team today, playing with one hand pretty much. I think that just speaks volume to how good he truly was and how good he truly is.
Oh, absolutely. He was a great floor general today. Even though he didn't have his best stuff shooting the ball, he was still able to control the ball, go into the lane, make some tough layups and ones as well. He and Miles Kale were the two best players for the Pirates tonight, with Jared Roden having an off night and the rest of the team not really shooting at a good percentage. But anyway, Ryan, we're going to move past this game. Look at the whole grand scheme of things. Looks like the Pirates will be going dancing this coming Thursday. They will potentially be playing. Maybe they'll be maybe an 8 seed, maybe a 7 seed. We'll see how the chips fall. But Ryan, how do you think that this team could do in the long run in March Madness?
Well, it does look like they're going to be an 8th seed. It looked like they were slotted to be a 7th seed before tonight's loss, but I'm sure that their ranking will drop a little bit after tonight. But even so, I think this team easily makes it out of the first round. That second round is going to be tough. If they're an 8th seed, they're going to be playing a number 1 seed most likely. Almost immediately, they're going to be playing a 1 seed. So it's just going to be a very, very tough matchup right out of the gate. Obviously, I want to be optimistic and say the Pirates aren't going all the way, right? But realistically, it could be hard. I think second round is a decent ceiling for this team, but who knows? Maybe we see him in the Sweet 16. Maybe we see him in the Final Four. Who knows?
Yeah, it's all about the luck of the draw, Ryan.
It's March.
It is March. Anything can happen in March. I mean, a 16 seed beat a 1 seed not too long ago, so you never know what's going to happen. If Seton Hall is an 8 seed and they do have to play a 1 seed, we'll see who they have to play. Maybe Arizona, maybe Auburn. We'll see. But I think a round of 32 or a Sweet 16 berth will put a smile on the faces of many Pirate fans. But anyway, that will wrap up this post-game report for Seton Hall PTV at Madison Square Garden. For my co-host Ryan Johnston, I have been Jimmy Bliss. Seton Hall loses to UConn 62-52 in the quarterfinals of Madison Square Garden. We'll see you next time.